Welcome to Psychic Evolution with evidential psychic medium Jamie Clark and spiritual coach and healer Maggie Clark.
And welcome back to another episode of Psychic Evolution. I'm Jamie Clark.
And I'm Maggie Clark, and this is the podcast where you discover the psychic potential within to empower yourself and manifest your psychic and mediumship gifts.
And these abilities are so natural, they're supernatural.
So today we want to get into creating a future memory. So a lot of times in psychic readings, this is how psychics can read into future timelines, is because you are activating future memories all the time with your energy, your words, your actions, and how you vibrate.
And in the beginning, it tends to seem like magic until we're able to just share a little bit of what we do, because for myself, I'm about the empowerment. First, I want to make sure I'm accurate and whatever the circumstance is, so that when I'm following it up with information, it's a little bit more viable to go, well, however you did that, that was correct and it happened. And the ability of creating our realities and co-creating with others, because for myself, I wanted to make sure that I was not manipulating other people to get what I'm looking for. I don't need to do that. There's enough for everyone and so much more. But in this connection, in wanting to kind of see and grow into my abilities, which from a very young age I was taught how to read energy by my mom, it became a lot more comfortable. It became a lot more effective to connect with people, pick up their overall thought patterns, and one, first know how to connect and communicate, talk with them. Two, the ability to go, okay, if you keep planting these thought seeds, here's most likely what you're going to grow in your life. Do you like it or do you not? And as a psychic medium, which everyone is, I always share, but if you can pick up that energy and then it happens, it becomes a lot more powerful, because I share the fact that sometimes someone will come to me and they're new and I'll give them a potential psychic outcome and they'll be like, sure, right. I'm like, no, I could certainly be wrong, but I guess we'll see. They usually end up connecting back going, what else you got to say? Because I thought you were full of crap, and it all happened. And so I'm about the empowerment to go, one, they self-realized that it was accurate information. Two, they were now questioning, how are you able to do that? Because you're pulling this information out of thin air. I don't even know you. I'm like, right. But what I also like to share, just from my awareness of how we create and co-create with others, is through the natural laws that exist in this universe. And as I always say, any natural law is never ever selective of itself as to who the user is of that natural law. Like the soil in the ground. That soil of itself doesn't question anything about you in any way, what kind of person you are, happy, sad, murderer, healer, green, purple, orange, and it doesn't question what seed you're planting. If you're planting that seed, you must want it to grow. And as I always share, and here's how I read for people, the seemingly thin empty air of nothingness is pure God soil. Every thought you have is a seed you're planting into the cosmic soil. Your attention to those thoughts, to those seeds, are what waters them to grow. And through another natural law that I call a vibrational match, or cause and effect, is how we've come to see things as karma. What you put out comes back. Not good, bad, happy, or sad, but an experience of reflection, meaning what you keep thinking about, you're planting those seeds, and they'll usually come back to us. And that is also sometimes what can help us get our own psychic realization, go, whoa, that just flashed in my mind. I don't have a clue, and then it happened. And then you start to realize, okay, I was able to pick up seeds of consciousness, whatever they call that thing, and I started getting my own insight. I'm like, yes, it's freaking brilliant. You can start reading for yourself as you also read for others. It doesn't always have to be a one way. And when I could start creating my reality consciously and realizing that I wasn't making other people do what I wanted it to have happen, then I started seeing the co-creation with others, not the manipulation.
It's really interesting to be on the other side of co-creation as well. I was beading my new zodiac line for astrology jewelry, and as I was beading Leo, I was thinking of all the people that I know that are Leos in my life. And so I'm a Leo, and then I also have a friend whose son is Leo, and he crossed my mind. And as he crossed my mind, I was like, "Oh, I need to make him a bracelet." And wait a minute, I think his girlfriend's a Leo too. I'm supposed to make her a bracelet as well. So, curious enough, a few days later, my friend's over at my house and she was going to be helping me sell some of my zodiac jewelry at the psychic fair. And I was, explaining to her and I said, "Oh, by the way," and she goes, "Oh, I really wanted to tell you about Adrian." I said, "Oh, before you say anything, let me just fill you in. You need two Leo bracelets because his girlfriend's a Leo too, right?" And she goes, "What?" So, and her daughter was there. I'm like, "Don't forget, I'm psychic." And it was just a joke, because we're all psychic, but I was tuned in and I was part of the co creation of her already thinking about getting jewelry for her son and his girlfriend, who are both Leos, so they could have matching bracelets. It was beautiful. And so I was like, oh, I felt into that part of that co creation and was able to get a psychic read through what I was doing to help facilitate how that was going to come about. And it was magnificent.
Well, not only that, look at as you're creating that, they started vibing through your mind. You were already planting those seeds of consciousness. And then sometimes, like the flower growth, the day to day things, your good friend calls you and you're like, Hey, let me say something first." And that way it became more validating. You weren't playing on words. And more than likely, you responded with confidence, not cockiness. There's a difference. And when they can go, "Holy crap! That's exactly what I was going to say." And you're like, "Oh, okay, cool," because I'm a psychic. Like, they begin to lose some of the fear. In this case, of how you can receive information, how you can pick up energy from other people, because not everyone is comfortable when somebody is reading for them, and it becomes very empowering. Just like Mag was doing, is she was doing a particular break. This wasn't something else. This could have been anything that she was creating. Yet, coincidentally, there is no coincidence, the very object that she was creating, before I believe you even finished it, you were already vibing with the people who it could be connected to. And then, strong enough out of all of the potential people, apparently, that you were picking up a strong enough vibe to go, "Oh, that's her son, and I think that is a Leo." And not only that, I feel like his girlfriend is also a Leo. And then, in this case, the mother figure, you're talking with her, and she's like, "I can't believe that just fell out your mouth." You're like, "Oh, okay, well, it's just kind of there." But it also became more than likely a lot more validating to go, "You said it before she even said anything." And that's a really good thing for myself, is I want to try to get as much information and insight before they even start asking questions, for the most part, so they can go, "God, that's either really good guesswork or something to it." I'm like, right. And when they can sit before me in this case and realize I'm not judging them, it takes one to know one. I'm sure I've done many other things in other lifetimes. But when you're able to pick up thought patterns, in this case psychically, of connections with other people, life experience, opportunities, home life, all those kind of things, it becomes very powerful that somebody seemingly outside of you is able to look at your life from the outside, as we see it, and give you information that you're not even aware of in your own life experience, and you're the one who's living it. But it becomes a lot more powerful that, like I said, not that everything's accurate, but a lot of times it is. And those bigger validations, when the people come to me going, "I thought all that stuff was a bunch of crap because there's no way, I didn't even see that coming." And I'm like, "Yeah, but the universe did." And now you see, there is no luck or coincidence. I was able to pick up, just whatever the question was. And oh, yeah, that versatility of planting seeds of consciousness and the reaction to those seeds. Meaning, when somebody comes to me for a psychic read, in this case, if I choose this business, how's that going to play out? If I choose this direction, how's that going to play out? They're sitting there asking before they even go in these directions, yet I'm able to pick up information of potential about companies, people, experiences, whatever the case is, and see if vibrational match, it would be a good thing for whoever that person is to connect with. Because there are times when people come to me, and it's a work vibration in this case, And, they're hoping, like, yeah, it's going to be great. And I'm like, well, let's just pay attention to this. And, this has the potential to happen. So make sure that you keep the energy clean. And that way they have some information about what they're dealing with before they even get there. And when they can get their own vibe to go, yeah, but you don't know me, but that's exactly what's happening, they become a little bit more conscious of themselves, going, okay, what thoughts am I thinking? What seeds am I planting that this Jamie guy is picking up on? Because I didn't even say anything to him, but he's giving me a lot of the information that I'm dealing with that I haven't said anything. Wow, that's powerful. Yeah, but it's what everyone can do. And basically being able to be more effective and versatile to read each individual person that comes before me and how they're creating and co-creating their reality with life and other people.
It's really fascinating when you see it in action and you're a part of it and you're like, oh, that actually worked. And like Jamie always says, have the guts to say something if you feel like you're co creating, especially with a friend who's not going to judge you. She's just going to be like, whoa, that's really cool that you were picking up on that. And remember, this whole art of co creating realities, when we're creating a future memory, we are holding a vibration in our mind sight, in our vibrational field of energy, whether it's our mind, our heart, our bodies, our souls, all combined. And we are planting those seeds of consciousness. Now, to make sure that we water those seeds, that we tend to those seeds, because we have seeds that we plant that we don't want to plant. We have subconscious programming and imprinting and conditioning that happens in our mind that goes on a lot. And so, the more conscious we are of how our mind works and what we're really thinking about, bringing an attention into our mind is really important. That's also one of the natural laws of the universe. It's the law of mentalism, where we actually become very conscious of the thoughts that we are thinking. And so when we are co creating, we're using these natural laws of the universe working in tandem together. So, one, that law of mentalism will help you fine tune the thoughts that are the seed thoughts that you're planting into the cosmic God soil. And then you use cause and effect. I do this, I can get that. And then that's the vibrational match that brings those future memories to you into the present.
And I think you bring up an interesting point, and that is when we can create the future memories and then allow the universe to flow to us with the universal flow, not the life force. And it sounds like semantics, but for me, I found that the more I would ask for things and then go running and chasing, I'm going to make this happen, which I had the right intent, but I didn't realize that by doing that, I was trying to make an unlimited universe play out one specific way to come to me. When if, once I started putting this to the test, I started acting and feeling and seeing as though it's already there before it's there. That ability to entrain a positive vibe the best that we can is not always easy. But when you can get an energy vibe, and in this case, a target, when we talk or ask with the universe, a lot of us have the right intent about what we want, but will tend to approach the problem more so than the solution. And what I mean by that is, I share the fact that most of us want people who love us in our lives and we want abundance. But the average person approaches those two circumstances with the universe like this: I know what I don't want. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be broke. Even though they have the right intent of people in abundance, they keep planting the seeds of broke, alone. Guess what they'll get more of? Broke, alone. And then it kind of ties into, how could horrendous things happen to great people and vice versa? And then it starts to become, oh, the universe will give you everything or nothing and love you just the same. It's all but an experience. Just the challenge is most people will think the thoughts and then they'll start digging them up to try to make them happen. And for myself, the ability to hold that vibe the best and most consistently that we can while we're allowing the universe to flow to us in our life experience became a lot more effortless. And it didn't mean that I wasn't doing anything, but by creating that future memory, I had a gauge and what I felt like was success or happiness, fulfillment, whatever it is, in connection with it. So now I had that gauge, that template to compare to each person's circumstance and experience to go, okay, you know what? You're vibing just like this. Let's have some fun. Or not a chance because that doesn't even vibe like this. And every time it feels like that, it's usually playing out like that. When it feels like this, it's usually playing out like this. And so I always say in a law of averages, you done went psychic. Because when it's feeling like that, it'll usually play out like that. You'll be able to get and feel your way through life with information.
And you bring up another law, a natural law of the universe. This is the law of gender. And this is something where we grow up in a society where we are really taught to do a lot of things. So we're using our masculine energy. We're a very masculine driven society where let's do, go, build, like constantly doing. And we get caught in this hamster wheel and we forget that the law of gender is the law of masculine and feminine energy. And masculine energy is the doing energy, feminine energy is the receiving energy. And when they are in perfect balance within who you are, you naturally have that, okay, I can do this, I can plant the seed, that's the doing part, and then I can allow myself to receive the gift of the universe. So now you're working with another natural law of the universe. So, law of mentalism, law of cause and effect, and law of gender. So, learning how to be receptive. This is sometimes a foreign type of vibration because it has been seen culturally as powerless in the last thousands of years, only because we have been in a masculine dominated society and we are taught to do. We're taught how to work our bodies out. We're taught how to work our brains out. We're taught how to do things to get accomplishments. But are we taught how to feel? Are we taught how to open ourselves to receive? And one of the things of psychic development is you have to be open to receive because intuition, you receive. Messages from your spirit team, you receive. Impressions of timelines you receive. So all of these psychic abilities that we tune ourselves into, we have to learn how to be open and receptive and allow things to come to us. And not only that, we have to allow the abundance and the richness of the universe to give us the harvest of those seeds that we plant. And there's a lot of different ways to work with this cosmic God soil. I don't necessarily have a vision in mind of what my future is going to look like. I really rarely go to those places. Sometimes I see snippets, like a psychic impression of what might be coming or what it might look like later on down the road. And I just file that away and say, cool, open, ready, thank you. What I do love to co-create are vibrational energies because there is also the law of vibration in the universe. It's a natural law that what you vibrate with is what you're going to attract. So when I'm in a super good mood, this is where I plant my cosmic God soil seeds. I'm like, I want happiness. And if I'm super happy, I am planting those seeds of consciousness, very consciously in the cosmic God soil of happiness. If I'm feeling this utmost gratitude or this beautiful love from my heart space, that's the time that I go into my cosmic God soil and plant the seeds because what I want in life is to be happy, healthy, loving, gratitude in my heart, like reverence for everyone, compassion. These are the qualities that I plant. So it's not necessarily a vision, a future memory. It's what I want to experience more of. These vibrations that I love, that make me feel good, and that make me know that I can have a beautiful life full of love and happiness. So when I'm vibing that way, that's when I'm planting my seeds because those are the seeds that I want to water. And every time I feel even a little bit of happiness, I imagine myself pouring that happiness like water onto the cosmic God soil to grow, or fertilizer, or whatever it might look like. Sometimes the qualities of what you want to experience in your future, when you can plant the qualities, the vibrations of that, that's when you can attract the vibrational matches that the universe will see as well. So even if you don't have a clear, vision of what your future looks like, you can plant seeds that will give you more of the feelings that you want to experience.
And when you connect with people, I always share the fact for me that when you first meet somebody, that personal magnetism, it's either like, man, I just love your energy, or I want to get to know you. They don't have to say a word, yet you'll feel their energy. Some have a nice, good, clean energy. Others are like, how's it possible to have a dirty, greasy energy? Yeah, but they do. They're on that channel. It's not a negative, it's just know who you're dealing with. And when I could find for myself that I could plant the seeds of confidence, of love, of happiness, of empowerment, I began to take time each day and a little bit of time to help those grow without trying to make them. I allow them. And then as I was getting the reaction to my actions, it allowed me to kind of refine and define my approach of the circumstances or opportunities to get a more effective outcome. And then I realized life wasn't happening to me, it's happening because of me. And the more that I could put these dynamics to the test, the more that I could get my own validation that it works. Mag and I will share everything we do with you. We want to get you to help yourself. And if we can give you enough solid validation in this way that you can put things to the test and get a result, it's a little bit easier for you to hold that vibe of, okay, I accept it. And another thing is sometimes people don't know how to equate the seeds of consciousness for happiness or success or whatever it is. And then I'll share the fact to go, okay, well, if you want seeds of happiness, life experience that's happy, what I would love for you to do is just sit down, even for 30 seconds longer, the better. And I want you to take yourself to an experience in life that you felt happy, that you felt fulfilled, any of those in any way, and then just sit and vibe with it. Let it vibe through your energy. You're not making things up, you're recalling a real life experience. It becomes a little bit easier to hold that vibe of happiness or abundance once you've made a connection to this opportunity. And when you can get that connection of what you're thinking about, and then the reactions from life experience and other people, you go, wow, that's matching quite a bit of what I was approaching it with. Then you realize, again, life's not happening to us, it's happening because of us. And when we can help you to help yourselves, and in this case, psychically, to realize here's the thoughts that you're planting, the seeds of consciousness, more so than the others. And so here's most likely what you're going to have coming up for you.
When we're thinking about this cosmic God soil and planning future memories, it's also important not to get too detailed, I believe. If we put too many details, it has to be a certain way. It's really harder for the universe to line that up sometimes because what if it's not necessarily in everyone's best interests? Say, for instance, you want a relationship with someone and it's just this one person. That's it. You're not open to other people. You're really focused on just one person. And what if that's just really not the best match for you? What if there is someone else that is such a better match for you, but you haven't met this person yet? But you're so focused on this one person that you've told the universe, this is it. This is the one that I want. But what if it's not going to give you the rest of the qualities that you want with the relationship, the other seeds that you're planting of maybe happiness, contentment, or whatever the case is? What if it's not in the other person's best interest? Then that will never manifest. So we sometimes don't want to pigeonhole things too tightly in that God soil. We want to allow, like Jamie says, always allow the universe to bring it to you, the energy of what you want to you. Now, there might be times that you can pigeonhole just one person for one specific thing, and you can hold that vibration tried or true, and then that can be cultivated. But remember, when we're planting these seeds, we always encourage to plant them in love for the best of all concerned, because you want what's best for you and you want what's best for the whole, I hope. And so that's really, really important to keep that in mind, that however the universe can show up for you is a beautiful thing. But if we pigeonhole things too tightly, maybe it's not in everyone's best interest. So how do we loosen our reins of control and allow the universe to really understand what is the best match for us? And this a lot goes into understanding who we are individually. The more that we get to know ourselves, the more we love ourselves, the more we feel good in our lives, the more we're going to be planting the seeds that vibe with who we really, really are.
And the ability to pick up those seeds of consciousness, our thoughts, through co creation can also give us sometimes time frames of connection and experience. And what I mean by that is, there was a time where this lovely couple, in this case, it was a gentleman who's a very nice guy, and he had come to me, and he and his woman were on the outs, and they had gone in different directions. She had chosen to go to another state and kind of do her thing. And so he came to me and he was asking, was what's going on, what's coming up, and is there any connection that this person would ever come back into his life? And so I started doing an energy read of the potential of what thoughts he was thinking and co creating with other people. And because now he had targeted a specific soul print, now it's not just, hey, it's open, it's bip. Now I've got that person's soul print, and here's what I feel like the seeds of consciousness they're planning, and that's what's going to co-create this experience of what you're planning. And in this case, they were asking, any kind of a time frame, and coincidentally, because today is Halloween, October 31st, and last year was the experience. And he asked me, is there ever going to be a reconnection? And so I just opened up and pip, mind drop information in connection with this person who was also thinking their thoughts and co creating their reality. I picked up a pretty specific date. I said, kind of crazy, but October 31st, like Halloween, is going to be so crazy but powerful. And he was like, okay, that'd be great, because it wasn't Halloween yet, because we're psychic. And then, coincidentally, that day, that very day out of the other 364 days, this person, in this case, the relationship, she came back into his life. They are now married, they have a beautiful child, and they're growing in life together. My point is that I was able to pick up a couple of different farmers, so to speak, what they're planning and harvesting and what they're planning and harvesting. And let's see if there's a blend in the middle that could give it a connection. And again, having the guts that it's not always right, but I've just learned I don't always have to understand the information. I'll just comprehend it, because it's the information of neutrality. I don't have to find a value point. It's just receive the information and get what I give, and give what I get.
And such an important thing to remember in psychic readings. We are looking into the cosmic God soil, looking at these seeds of consciousness that people are planting. And when you get, someone like Jamie can really get a clear read on two people's gardens in the same garden of consciousness always, because we are all one, and how they interact and how they could actually thrive together. Are they planting the same kinds of seeds that would co-create well together? When we're thinking about relationships, whether it's with a job or whether it's with another person, we're thinking about how this will vibrate and what can it do together. Will it enrich humanity? Will it grow in a positive, petri dish of yummy nutrients and purified water? What is going to happen in this cosmic God soil? So again, this is one of the reasons that we really pay attention to creating future memories and to understanding how this works, because as we are developing psychic and our psychic evolution, we are really wanting to peer into the garden of consciousness and see how it's playing out for people and how they blend. And when we can peek in, when we can see that, whether it's through just beating a bracelet going, oh, I'm definitely feeling like I've got to make a couple extra of these, or if it's something, of reading for another person about a potential relationship in their life. Doesn't matter how you're using your psychic abilities and in what capacity, but you're just being open to be a co-creator in this cosmic God soil.
Not only that, look at what you were doing. You were in your own life experience gearing in to go, I think those would be beautiful bracelets for two people, not just one. And then the very person who you targeted, in this case, I believe you were thinking about while you were doing this, you were planting those seeds of, in this case, the younger person. And then not only that, from that younger person, it seemed to possibly offshoot other seeds of consciousness and co creation for his girl. And then all of a sudden, you're putting two farmers together, so to speak, going, oh, okay, you know what? And they're vibing pretty similar. More than likely, they're both going to want one.
And then we're bringing another farmer of the mom that's going to deliver these and get the message that that's really what she wants to gift these people too. And so now you have me as a farmer, my friend as a farmer, and her son and his girlfriend. So you have four farmers happening right here, right now. So all creating an everyday experience of gifting. So it's really, really, kind of cool when you think about it. We always look at like, what took us to get a piece of paper? Where'd this paper come from? Who had to like chop down that tree, and what all the processes and all the co-creations it had to go through, and all the life experiences it really impacted to get this piece of paper to be able to write something on. So when we think about co-creation, just to receive a piece of paper to write on, we think about all the ways and all the people that got you that piece of paper. There's so many ways. You could take something like beading a bracelet. Where did I get those beads? How did I get those beads? Who mined those beads? Who co-created this one experience from like a long time ago to this time frame? And were they creating future memories, of, oh, I hope someone can utilize this stone in a positive way. I hope someone really sees this as something valuable that they're going to buy. So what were those seeds of consciousnesses that were planted to help co-create this? Remember, this is all continuing, and that happened a long time ago, right? That was in the past. And what I felt was in the future, but all time is happening now. So we really do touch in to lots of different gardens, and we don't always see all the gardens that we are using to co-create realities.
And when you're able to see, for the most part, what seeds of consciousness people are planting, and then that growth and experience the outcome of what they're planning or thinking happens, there's a lot of responsibility that goes with what we do. Not only that, I always share the fact to go, right, I said it before it happened, and then it happened. Okay, I also want to share with you, I'm also connecting with the future you. And that future you is also what constitutes that deja vu. I haven't done it, but I've done it. I haven't done it, but I've done it. Yes, you have. On a quantum level, all of these potentials are happening now. It becomes the focus of your thought, what you give attention to the most, that will tend to vibe more and more of whatever that is. And if we can learn to plant the seeds of what we do want and a little less of what we don't want, this will be a happier place, one thought at a time. And we'll be able to nourish ourselves within the seeds of consciousness and what we're planning, what we would like to see grow in our life that we can enjoy. And to me, the universe does not register negatives. If you're thinking that thought, you must want it in your life or you wouldn't be thinking that thought. And then it realized for me that there is no karma, but that natural law of cause and effect. And when we realize that life is an experience and apparently only holds the value that each of us place upon that experience, becomes a lot more empowering. Because for myself, I always share the fact that if I get information for somebody psychically, I will give it to them. Otherwise, I will not make things up. Because in those connections where I read for people and they're like, sure, that's a bunch of crap, and then it happens, now for that particular person, anything and everything coming out my mouth to that person is the gospel, because they thought all that other stuff was a bunch of crap, and then it happened. They'll blow through their own roadblocks that most of them put in front of them and don't even realize it. Not only that, the ability to allow the universe to work with us to get us more of the outcomes of what we're wanting. And then we realized that it's not about favorites. They're not just viewing you out of everyone else that's important. We're all important. We are all equal. But it also becomes a magnetic energy, because we are like big magnets, as Mag and I were talking earlier. And that magnetic field, I'm not a doctor or a scientist, but that magnetic field is what also keeps people connected to this planet. You don't start floating away, you have that connection. And that's why magnetically everything seems to be connected or attracted to the planet. So I question in fact to go, do you ever wonder why, if it's on the side of the planet, that everything's not sliding down all the oceans and everything? It's held exactly where it's at and what it's vibing with, which becomes our thoughts. The universe will give us that which we do or do not want and love us just the same. I always say the universe will give you everything on top of the hill with everything and everyone, or leave you in the street with nothing and alone, and everywhere in between. It becomes now, what do we place the value on, and can we place that value on a positive experience, not so much the negative and fear of losing the experience.
And when you say, the universe doesn't register negatives, it's so important because how often do we say, I definitely don't want that in my life? And we are focused on the universe doesn't hear, I don't want that. All it hears is that, that, that. So whatever follows, I don't want, for instance, to be alone. All it hears is, oh, alone, 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 alone. So that's what it means when Jamie says the universe doesn't register negatives. So we really want to think about what we do want in our lives, especially when we're consciously thinking and consciously planting seeds of consciousness for creating future memories. We don't create future memories by focusing on the things we don't want to cultivate because the universe is just going to take that as another seed and plant it. And so we really want to be aware of how we think and what we think about. And we all have bad days where sometimes we're down a rabbit hole. Sometimes when I have bad days, I'm like, universe, just take this with a grain of salt because I don't mean any of it right now. And that it doesn't really matter if I say that or not because the universe is still vibing with my vibration. But the more that I can bring love to whatever it is I'm feeling and maybe some healing, maybe some self-recognition, maybe some self-awareness, I can clean that up. So the next seeds that I'm planting are going down a train of thought that I really do want to cultivate. And we're human, so give yourself some grace and some space and some ease as you catch how often you do are planting seeds that you don't want. And it's okay. We've all done this before, but we can get better each and every day in each and every way as we go forward. We can just keep planting those positive seeds.
And it's a little bit easier to plant the positive seeds when you're getting the result that they are positive seeds. And some people, they don't know how to plant the seeds of positive experiences because they're so used to digging into the challenges. And we're not ignorant, but I found that the more I was approaching the challenge or the problem to try to change it, the more I was getting similar things to the problem I was changing because I didn't realize I was planting those seeds of the very thing I was trying to change. And so when I asked Chi, my master guide, I'm like, Chi, I'm trying to change these problems, but I keep getting similar experiences like this. What the frig? I'm trying to change the problems. And his response, well, Jamie, it's that very reason. I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, you have the right intent. However, if you have a problem and you keep focusing on the problem, you're only going to intensify the problem. So I said, well, what am I supposed to do? I need to approach the problem to change it. And his response, well, how about rather than approach the problem, you create the solution? For me, I was like, oh, that's brilliant. We're not ignorant, but I also was able to start seeing how my thoughts, how the words that I spoke, the interactions with others were starting to mirror a lot of the seeds of consciousness of what I was planning. And being able to open up and live my own truth the best that I can also gave me an opportunity to go, hey, man, what I do, you can do. And even more, let me just show you the best that I can. This is possible so you can do it for yourself. Maggie and I are about the empowerment, not the enablement. Because to me, nobody needs to be fixed. Nobody needs to be saved. Just showing that power within, become more self-realized to begin to live life more than survive it. And sometimes people will come to me for potential relationships, circumstances, or opportunities. And they'll both be sitting in front of me, and I'll start doing an energy vibe read. And I'll usually be pretty accurate with each person and how, in the most part, they're receiving and perceiving their relationship with the other person. And usually be pretty accurate to go, okay, if you guys stay in this connection, here's most likely where it's going to take you. If you have this other direction you're going to take, here's most likely where you'll end up. Do you like it or do you not? I want to give them an opportunity to realize there are many different outcomes that can happen. If they can choose the best that they can and focus more on what they do want and a little bit less on what they don't want, they'll begin to plant those seeds of positive experiences as we feel them. And not only that, when we can feel and see and experience those positive vibes, it's a little bit easier to go, okay, you know what, that does feel good. And it wasn't scary, it just kind of felt natural. Like, yeah, that's the ability. So natural, it's supernatural.
Haha, that's right, man. Now remember that every time you're co-creating with the universe, every time you're working with the God soul, you are working with these natural laws of the universe. So I'll just give you a quick rundown of these natural laws. First, you're having the law of cause and effect that Jamie references. You're having the law of vibration. Everything vibrates. The law of mentalism. What are the thought seeds that you are planting? The law of gender. When do you do and plant, and when do you allow the universe to offer it to you, and then you open and you receive? The law of polarity. The law of rhythm, and the law of correspondence, as above, so below. Now, the last three laws we didn't talk about a lot in this episode, but they all come into play as you are co-creating with the universe. So remember that the more conscious you are of these natural laws and how you co-create and how you plant seeds of consciousness, you can work with them. And then once you're tuned into those natural laws, you will receive psychic impressions of how you can work with them to improve what you are creating in your reality.
And the main difference for myself that I say between the psychic and the spiritual experiences, the psychic is an individualized perspective on reality as they perceive it. Now, most everyone who has a spiritual experience says the same thing. It's love, and there was connection and compassion. And I share the fact that I have a lot of clients who are doctors as well. And most all of them have said that when a patient dies as we perceive it, and they're brought back to life, a lot of times the first words out of that person's mouth is and are, "Why'd you bring me back?" That's the first time I felt accepted, the first time I felt understood. And they didn't have to be anything but them. Their entire life experience, good, bad, happy, sad, everything as we perceive it, was completely and is completely loved and accepted right for who you are.
So have fun planting seeds in your cosmic God soil and creating future memories, because these future memories are memories that will help you really tune into the vibration of who you are.
One other thing, the last thing is most of us have the right intent, but will tend to live in a reactive state of experience rather than a proactive. And here's what a lot of us will do. If I have this job, then I feel successful. And if I have this amount of money, then I feel wealthy. And we'll wait for the outside physical manifestation of the job, the money to happen to feel successful and wealthy. What if you'll start vibing that way before it's anywhere in sight? You're now sending vibrations of co-creation that will bring you the people, circumstances, and experiences matching more of what seeds you're planting. And then it's the empowerment of self-realization. What do we want to see in our life? What can we accept in our life? And what will we allow to manifest in our life?
Beautiful. So if you are interested in my Zodiac jewelry line, you will find it at psychicevolution.net. I know we talked about that today. Also, there is a new metaphysical bookstore in Scottsdale called Dimensions of Heaven and Earth. My jewelry line is in there, so if you want to go check it out, you can find that. We'll have a link in the show notes so that you can find out their address and check out their website. They also do ship if you want to purchase from them, and that's a really cool metaphysical and spiritual store brand new store in Scottsdale. So check it out. And if you have any questions, throw it our way. And thank you for tuning in today, and have fun with your psychic evolution. Are you looking to form a deeper and richer connection to your higher self? Make that dimensional bridge of consciousness a reality in your life. Join us with Infinite Healing from the Stars, that's Vivian Chavette and Peter Benson, and the Psychic Evolution team, gathering together in a beautiful spiritual center in Sedona, Arizona, with these beautiful vortex energies and red rocks. And here we're going to learn quantum ways to communicate to your higher self, discover your soul's purpose, activate your third eye, clear your channels, and enjoy messages from Jamie Clark and astrology to help activate your higher self in psychic connections. It is going to be out of this world when you're experiencing Beyond Quantum Healing with Vivian Chavette. We look forward to seeing you in Sedona on January 20th through 23rd of 2023. Visit psychicevolution.net to get your tickets. We look forward to seeing you there and having fun with our psychic evolution. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We are so grateful that you have taken the time to spend with us on our podcast today. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
And remember, these abilities are so natural, they're supernatural.
And if you want to have more fun with your psychic evolution, we do have a mystery school. Check it out. There'll be a link in your show notes, and you can join us and indulge in all our classes and become a part of the Psychic Evolution Inner Eye family. And if you feel like this podcast can help someone, please share it with a friend if you feel like it could help them grow and expand in their psychic evolution.
Until next time, have fun with your psychic evolution.